We're going with it. Welcome to our end of June farm tour. I'm excited to take you guys around, let you check out the garden. It's I'm so antsy to see all of our plants really start growing, but I have to remember that most of these are perennials that are in these beds, so they're babies. It takes 10 years for these plants to get established. So I'm trying to find joy in the little bit of growth that's happening throughout the month, and I'm excited to share it with you. We'll start with this view between the house and the garage. You can see the 2 hanging baskets over here, which are new to this year, and they're actually really loving that spot. Hubby said I'm taking away his manhood by adding plants to the garage. He's making eyes at me on the side. I'm not going to show you him though. He's unloading his car. He just got back from being gone in Tucson for a week. So there's Miss Oreo hanging out on the ground. Kiki, can you meow? She meows 90% of the time, but not for the camera. So this bed here, we have the dahlias that I just pinched back again. And y'all are going to hear the dogs probably quite a bit because it's dusk and it's the time that they start guarding pretty heavy. There is pineapple sage here, which got a little bit of hail damage. You'll see on some of the plants here, they have some holes. That's not from insects. We had a little bit of a storm come through and get them, but it was supposed to be golf ball sized hail, and it actually only ended up being tiny little hail. So that was a blessing. I'll take the small little leaf damage and keep on trucking with growing the plants. The greenhouse is actually empty right now. In July, I will start our fall plants. So I have like 2 weeks of breathing room between planting, which guys, I'm so tired. We've probably planted about 4,000 plants into the ground. I love that the lamb's ear is blooming. A lot of people don't like the bloom stalks and will take them off, but I actually appreciate a little bit of color in the garden. See, now there's Oreo talking. Kitty, kitty. Hi. She is a good mouser. You guys, she got a rat the other day. We measured the head. I'm not going to show you the photo. It was 2 inches. So our Arborvitaes have grown probably 6 inches this year since January, which I'm very excited about too. I like how they are on either side of the entry into the pea falcon. I also love that Peter is sitting like dead center. Look at that. Hi, pretty boy. Hi. We'll see if I can show you guys him without. There we go. Hi, pretty boy. We're enjoying his tail because he'll probably start dropping it in the next month. We tried to hatch peafowl babies, but I'm wondering if these guys are related because the eggs start to develop and then we don't get anything out of it. So might have to get another hen here to hatch out some babies. But in the meantime, we enjoy him and the hens quite a bit. One of the new plants that I added to the garden this year that I have not tried to grow is Canna Lilies. And I put them in these pots here with mint, which I think is a super odd combination, but it actually looks really pretty. And the mint is going to grow and fall down, spill out, and then the Canna Lilies is going to grow up. So it makes a nice little entrance into the garden when you walk up and you see the pots flanking both sides of our garden box right here. We like to come sit right here. And then you have the lights and the hanging baskets, which those are also new. We added all those to drip. On this side of our chicken shed, we added a large star. I've had that star for about 1.5 years. So it was really exciting to be able to get it hung up. It has lights as well that plug in. We have not done that yet. There's a lot of small touches that need to be taken care of in the garden. We've been working super hard just to get the big bulky stuff done. And as you can tell, The flagstone is sitting here, and we have a pathway so I can get back there and feed pigs or whatever else we need to do. We did take it out of the fire pit area. We decided to lay sod here, so we've been taking out all the sumac roots to prepare it for sod. And then later on, we'll come and put the flagstone all in here. And what we're finding this year is that sumac tree is big enough now that it's casting shade over this whole area. So I was going to put beds on either side of the flagstone path to put plants, but hubby told me that it may not work very well because then we stop the access to the deck and painting. And I'm kind of excited to put some tables here and toast dinners right here in the shade. How nice would that be? That way we can keep the pergola a nice, relaxed seating spot. The cat ran from that. The geese picked up her head and Gunner barked. The peafowl are really good at guarding, and Gunner definitely takes notice whenever they do their alarm calls. What is that, Bubba? Don't know. Thank you for coming to check. You're a good dog. Good dog. Our Mother's Day garden is coming along beautifully. I have had some issues with the turkeys taking some of the plants down, like my Egyptian walking onions, some garlic chives that were in this area that are maybe this tall now, and they've trampled over my stock plants. But my white salvia that is back there is gorgeous. I have some foxglove that's blooming, of course. The snapdragon is beautiful, and I love the contrast of the purple to pink and then to yellow here. And that's such a soft, pretty yellow. But 90% of the plants in here are perennial. So this hard work in the garden is done. I would like to have a few more pockets of annuals in here for color, but I think this year this is just how we're going to leave it. We do have a bunch of cucumbers growing along the back that will fill in. So I think it'll be pretty by the end of the season. Little added bonus. I'll show you guys how much the turkeys like water. I think they like it even more so than the geese. Bath time? Yeah. Go back in there. What are you escaping? Feels good on a hot day, even though they're mostly in the shade this time of day. The water just rolls off of him. I think he's darker. He's broad-breasted, so it gets a lot warmer. All that growth. There you go. You add a bonus for the day. We have transplanted some more plants into the fire pit area. I have moved all of our vinca right here, pushed it over so that it's now just going around the trees instead of going all the way down this row. We have some daisies here, which this one transplanted a little rough, and then the geese have been coming over and sitting, and you can tell they've stomped down some plants. And then I also had 3 salvia here, which they chewed down, and it was growing back, and I just noticed that they chewed it down again. So I'm probably going to have to fence in this area. And we're about to let the puppies out too, and I just don't want them eating anything that might be bad for them or destroying the plants. So it's probably about time to do that. I also have a black lace elderberry by Proven Winners here. It's a little bit hard to tell in this light, but I'm excited to see how big it grows. There's heuchera, some gara. These Shasta daisies really transplanted well and are doing well. There's 1, 2, 3 more plants right here that are still just kind of struggling a little bit. And then again, we have more cucumbers here. I think they might be too shaded to come up. Our roses have started blooming. And then we do have some zinnias. I'm hoping they get a little bit bigger. We also have raspberries and blackberries that are growing up these topiaries. And we'll see if we get some fruit this year. We still have 3 tables up here that have all of our drip because we are about 99% of the way done, but we still have been checking emitters. And we did find that the pergola U-shaped garden beds were leaking, and you can tell they were leaking quite a bit of water. So we're gonna have to redo all the drip in this section. I think I also let you guys know that we have all of our bunnies in here for right now because our garden is kind of under construction and they are enjoying the shade. So let's take a look. This is Hazel, and she actually has baby buns. So let's look and see the babies. There they are. Hi, babes. They're 2 weeks old. And that is really hazy because it's kind of dark in there. But they're enjoying this cool evening. It is so nice. But we have 2 different litters that are in here, plus all of our breeding age bunnies. And then we also have our quail. And I'm really enjoying collecting quail eggs every day. We were lucky enough to get one that's laying these kind of blue-green colored eggs. And then, of course, some more traditional brown with spots. Most all of our gardens have food and flowers in them. I think this might be the only bed that is 100% food. So there's carrots, strawberries, amaranth. These are sweet potato slips that we got planted. There's some fingerling potatoes that are kind of in this back row, and they're following some turnips that we harvested. I have golden beets on the back side of this bed, and then different pumpkin varieties in the front. Let me come over to basil, and I'm really excited to let these leeks here go to flower. I think they're gorgeous when they flower. I also have spinach in this back bed that is flowering and going to seed, so I can collect seed, and then probably 3 to 5 types of mint that go along the side. And I'm going to next week take that mint, propagate it, and fill in these blank spots here and on the back side and the other side. But for right now, there are pumpkins growing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different little groups of pumpkin here. They're going to come up the fence and spill out onto this back side, this little pathway. So on this side, we have a trumpet vine, and then there's Armenian cucumbers, some county fair cucumbers, and they're starting to flower. It's so interesting to me to see other people's gardens where they're already harvesting cucumbers, and our season is just so different here. These are our back market garden rows. We have pumpkins on this side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 of the rows are sunflowers. The back row does have some corn mixed in, and then the next one, which you can't tell in this light, but there's a fence going across, and there's 2 different types of pole beans that are about 6 inches tall that will be growing up those so that we can harvest. If I back out a little more from the pergola, you can see this bed here, which we discovered after moving the wood over. And it has cantaloupe in it, which is a little hard for us to grow here. I just don't think that our nights are warm enough to support it. And I've tried it 3 years, and the plants are just really stunted compared to all of the other cucurbits that we're growing, which are the cucumber and the pumpkins. You can just tell they're just a lot bigger and brighter in color too. So the health is different. So this is probably the last year that I'm going to try to do the cantaloupe. I just don't think we're meant to do melons. I do love this back view of the pergola here. So let's go check out what we call the OG garden. It's our original garden, and the perennial garden here. This is another spot that I'm hoping is just going to be a wonderful spot to come and enjoy the garden. I added some sunflowers here, which these are ever blooming throughout the summer. And The green beans are starting to come up to grow to fill up this arbor here. That is a new bed for us. Our spring crops are still in this bed to the left. The sunflowers have really done a great job of protecting all of my lettuces from bolting. Not all of them, but quite a few. And they look a little wild, but I'm glad that they're doing a job for us. In this bed here, we have a bunch of chard and kale. And again, the sunflowers are protecting our peas that are growing. There's Oreo again. She's not very happy that we have the puppies, so she won't hang out with me in the house. So when I come outside, she definitely asks for my attention, which I'm happy to give because I know that she's missing hanging out with us, and I don't blame her for not wanting to hang out with 9 puppies. I did just prune up the tomatoes and add the tomato cages here. I probably have 25 more tomatoes that need some type of trellising, and I'm just not sure what I'm going to do this year. You can see in the market rows right here, this second row is all tomatoes. And let's come down and take a closer look at the crops that are growing in the market rows. So this is actually our front door that I'm coming out of here, although no one uses it as the front door. But I'm so excited to be able to walk out now. And there's going to be a beautiful perennial garden here. You can see where we've come in and added the 1/2-inch strip tubing. And we seeded a bunch of stuff on top of the plants that were already here, which was salvia. And then we actually have native verbena that's in here. And I did transplant one of those from another place in the yard to in here. The clover is about done blooming. But I love that the mallow has now come in. And this is native mallow, so this is wild growing here. I have a couple penstemons that are blooming. This is datura, this gorgeous white flower here. Some bachelor buttons, some tick seed in the back there. So there's some white yarrow here. Again, the sunflowers. I was thinking about going ahead and pulling these sunflowers because we have so many rows, and I really want the rest of the flowers to be the star of this garden. Tell me what you guys think. Should I leave them or should I pull them? I have a back row of hollyhocks that are about to start blooming, and then there's more dahlias over here. Our market rows are doing pretty well. I had a rough time with the transplants for my purple bush green beans. I guess they're purple beans, not green beans. But I am going to come back through and seed some more. The tomatoes are doing well. Like I said, I just pruned them, and I'm really excited about how thick these stems are. And it's not really doing it justice in the video here, but they're really thick stems compared to the ones that are growing in our raised bed. And we laid them flat when we planted them instead of going straight up and down into the ground. I was just chatting with my mom today, and we said we wish we would have done a video to show you. I know there's a lot of people who plant them that way because what happens is they get this huge root system growing down off of the stem because of all of the little hairs on tomatoes stems are actually roots, or they have the potential to become roots. So I'm thinking that they just got really strong roots growing there. These guys get exposed to the wind too. So I think I can do a pretty light trellis on these. It'll be interesting to do that as an experiment. This next row here is all different types of peppers, jalapenos, hot pepper mix, some pepperoncinis. We're really excited to do some canning with those later on. This is amaranth. This can actually be eaten like spinach, the leaves. You can harvest the seeds. It is part of the quinoa family, but is absolutely gorgeous and really looks nice in cut flowers as well. Then we go on to some more of the bush beans, followed by sunflowers. This row here has perennial greens. So there is sorrel and comfrey. And we also have purslane, which has taken over a lot of my garden. It is an edible green. It's native to our area. I'm going to go ahead and just let it grow in between the plants. It's going to cover the soil, A, and then B, it's edible. So it's kind of a free food source, and if I just have to water it a little bit, I will take it. The next rows here are squash, which I planted in those little cardboard planters because I know they don't like to be transplanted, and they still just had a rough time taking off. So I think I'm just going to direct seed next time and save myself some headache. I have had a rough time in this end of this row trying to get things to grow. I think we've reseeded it with sunflowers probably 3 times. It looks like this last bunch is finally coming up here, but again, I'm going to have probably 2 feet of bed that nothing is coming up in. So I might try something else. I'm not sure why things aren't growing. This row here, we did the 5 sisters. You can see the amaranth, sunflowers, corn, squash, and green beans. And there's the sewer heads. I think some of you all know that we were trying to see what it would look like if we grew up around this area. We're so dry here, and really where you don't want to plant stuff over or where you're going to be watering is here. And that's where our leach field is. And I actually let these grow up because I wanted to see where it was, because I'm going to mow that over. That's kochia, and plant a pollinator garden here. So now I'm going to go mark that out now that I can see where a lot of the evaporation is going to be coming up from the sewer tanks, and then put in some gorgeous wildflowers. This last row here is probably 6 different types of sunflowers. Our youngest kiddo helped me plant in here, and they are all leaning towards the waning sun. The view from the porch is always one of my favorites. And the dogs love to be on the porch because they see the majority of the property from here. So we're not the only ones that like to come and sit and take in the gorgeous view of the homestead. All the mountains. You can see in the pots we have the salvia and petunias. There's more petunias up here. Our snapdragons have their second flush. We still have pansies because this is the north side and it doesn't get as hot here, but we are still able to do geraniums in the same place. Our creeping Jenny just looks gorgeous. I do have some replacements here, some caladium and echinacea for the pots. Like this is anemone, it's about to be spent. We'll put those bulbs away from the year, and also some ranunculus, which is flanking either side of these blue pots here. Well, Runa's gonna take her turn going after the strange bug. Anything that is foreign here, these guys take an interest in. Their ears. What is that? But just look at how gorgeous this window box is. Creeping Jenny is about one of my favorite trailers. It's just not fussy. It's easy to grow. It looks gorgeous. People put it around their ponds and it can flush into the ponds, and it's a perennial, so you can leave it in your window box or your pots until next year and enjoy it. I'm doing some new plants over here. This is heuchera with some purple fountain grass. This grass should get really quite large, but the colors are actually getting a little bit lost in the side of the house, so I may move this pot here. Here's another beautiful view of our house. You can see the arbor here, which will be beautifully covered in green. Hopefully by the next video I show you. For sure by the August video. Thank you for watching this month's video. I'm excited to share with you what we've been working on in the garden. If you have any suggestions for anything that we're growing or that you've seen with our drip or anything else, we love to learn from other people. I know that gardening is an experiment and you can never stop learning, and I think that's why I find so much joy in it. It's an ever-going process. So thank you so much, and we will see you next month.